Welcome back to This Week in Weed. Let's take a look at this week's top stories. United States Deputy Attorney General James Cole, along with 4 U.S. attorneys from California, publicly announced their intention Friday to escalate federal efforts targeting the state's medical cannabis dispensaries and providers. These efforts include the increased use of civil forfeiture proceedings against dispensary owners and their landlords, officials stated. The DOJ announcement came just days after the Internal Revenue Service determined that marijuana dispensaries can no longer claim standard business expenses such as payroll, security, or rent on their federally filed tax returns. The administration's recent actions conflict with the president's pledge to cease utilizing Justice Department resources to try and circumvent state law on this issue. Commenting on the federal government's stepped-up enforcement threats, NORML Deputy Director Paul Armentano said, "If the federal government is truly concerned about the diversion of medical marijuana or its potential abuse in California, then it would be better served to encourage, rather than discourage, local and statewide efforts to regulate this industry accordingly." The Obama administration's proposed actions in California will only result in limiting patients' regulated safe access to medicine. It will also cost California jobs and needed tax revenue. He added, "Legislating medical marijuana operations and prosecuting those who act in a manner that is inconsistent with California law and voter sentiment should be a responsibility left to the state, not the federal government. It is time for this administration to fulfill the assurances it gave to the medical cannabis community and to respect the decisions of voters and lawmakers in states that recognize its therapeutic efficacy." The RAND Corporation has removed a study from its website that found that a city-mandated closure of medical marijuana dispensaries in 2010 was associated with increased incidences of criminal activity. RAND's decision to shelve the study appears to have been motivated by criticism levied at the institution by the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office, which had previously argued that medical cannabis facilities were magnets for criminal activity. RAND's study, published in September, refuted that claim, concluding, "We found no evidence that medical marijuana dispensaries, in general, cause crime to rise." Previous analysis of crime statistics in Denver, Los Angeles, and Colorado Springs had separately disputed the notion that the locations of dispensaries are associated with elevated incidences of criminal activity. RAND's study has been withdrawn pending further review, said Warren Robach, a media spokesperson for the think tank. "I don't have an estimate of when the review will be complete and the study will reappear." He explained, "We took a fresh look at the study based in part upon questions raised by some folks following the publication." Robach further added that the agency that was the most vocal in its criticism of the study was the LA City Attorney's Office. RAND had previously argued that their study was the first systematic analysis of the link between medical marijuana dispensaries and crime. Dutch government officials have announced their intention to recriminalize strains of cannabis containing levels of THC, the plant's primary psychoactive ingredient, above 15%. Officials were not specific as to when the proposed ban would take effect or how strictly the new policy would be enforced. A representative from the Dutch Ministry of Justice said that the new policy will mandate cannabis retailers to self-regulate the potency of the cannabis products they sell, and that state inspectors will be granted the authority to randomly seize marijuana from Dutch coffee shops for laboratory analysis. Critics of the plan state that there exists little data associated with increased health risk with higher potency cannabis, and emphasize that the compound is relatively non-toxic and incapable of causing death by overdose. In recent months, Dutch cabinet members have taken steps to clamp down on the cannabis coffee shop industry, including proposing a ban on sales to foreign patrons. That was This Week in Weed. Thanks for watching, and tune back in next Thursday for the newest episode.